The snow falls in thick, silent curtains. Two small bodies huddle together on a metal bench, their breath forming tiny clouds in the frozen air. Blonde hair spills across red sweaters. Blue jeans darkened by melting snow. Red boots caked with ice. They're asleep. A man in a dark blue suit stops 3 feet away. His leather gloves creak as his hands curl into fists. Street lights glow behind him like distant stars, blurred and warm against the bitter cold. He stares at the children, his jaw tight, his eyes wide with something between horror and recognition. One twin shifts. Her sister's arm tightens around her waist. The man takes a step closer. Snow crunches beneath his polished shoes. He kneels slowly until his face is level with theirs. His breath shakes. "Jesus," he whispers. The older twin's eyes snap open. She doesn't scream. She just stares at him with the kind of awareness that doesn't belong in a 6-year-old. "We're waiting," she says. The man blinks. "For who?" "Our mom." Her voice is small but steady. Her sister stirs, blinking awake, and the two of them sit up in perfect unison. Their faces are mirrors of each other. Same sharp cheekbones. Same tired eyes. Same expression that says they've done this before. The man's throat closes. He looks around the empty street. No cars. No pedestrians. Just snow and darkness and 2 children who shouldn't be here. "How long have you been waiting?" The younger twin yawns. "Since dinner time. It's past 11 now." "For hours." 4 hours in freezing temperatures while the world kept moving, kept ignoring, kept pretending not to see. "Hi, viewers. Kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is." The man swallows hard. He reaches into his coat pocket, his fingers trembling, and pulls out a photograph. Old, creased, the edges worn soft from years of handling. He holds it up beside their faces. The world tilts. The photograph shows a woman laughing in sunlight. Behind her, 2 young girls with the same blonde hair, the same delicate features, frozen in time. The twins on the bench look exactly like them. Not similar. Identical. The man's hand drops. The photograph flutters to the snow-covered ground. "Where's your mom now?" His voice cracks. The younger twin answers this time. "She takes the late bus. But she gets tired now. So we come meet her. So she doesn't walk alone." The older one nods. "We wait every night." The man stands abruptly. His hand goes to his mouth. He turns away, shoulders shaking, and the twins watch him with quiet patience, like they've learned not to expect much from adults. A bus rumbles past in the distance. Its tail lights disappear into the snow. The twins crane their necks, watching, hoping. But it doesn't stop. When the man turns back, his eyes are red. "How long have you been coming here?" "Since the cold started." 3 months. 3 months of sleeping on frozen metal while the world walked past. 3 months of waiting for a mother who works herself to exhaustion. 3 months of being invisible. The man crouches again, his expensive suit soaking up melted snow. "What are your names?" "I'm Sable," the older one says. "I'm Nara," says her sister. Sable. Nara. The names hit him like a fist to the chest. He knows those names. He's heard them before, whispered in another life, by a woman whose voice still haunts his dreams. But that's impossible, isn't it? He picks up the photograph from the snow, brushing ice crystals from its surface, and stares at the woman's face. Her smile, her warmth, the way she used to look at him like he was worth something. Then he looks at the twins, and the truth begins to crawl up his spine like frost spreading across glass. These aren't just any children sleeping at a bus stop. These are her daughters, which means they might be his. 6 weeks later, fluorescent lights buzz overhead in a gray-walled office. A woman in a beige pantsuit sits behind a metal desk, fingers steepled, lips pressed into a thin line. Her name tag reads Ms. Pritchard, Child Protective Services. Across from her sits the man from the bus stop. His suit is darker now, charcoal instead of blue. His beard is trimmed sharper. His eyes are harder. "Mr. Rourke," Miss Pritchard says, her voice sugared with professional distance. "You understand our concerns." Cashin Rourke leans forward. "Explain them to me again." She sighs like she's dealing with a difficult child. "These girls have experienced significant trauma. Their mother's passing was recent. They need stability. Familiarity. I'm their father. Biologically, perhaps. But you've been absent their entire lives. I didn't know they existed. Miss Pritchard's eyebrows lift. That's not their fault, Mr. Rourke. Silence stretches between them like a wire pulled taut. Behind Miss Pritchard, through a window of reinforced glass, Cashin can see Sable and Nara sitting in a waiting room. They're wearing clothes he bought them. Purple sweaters this time. Their hair is brushed. Their faces are clean, but their eyes hold the same wariness they had at the bus stop. They don't trust this place. Don't trust these people who smile with clipboards and ask invasive questions. Children like this, Miss Pritchard continues, her tone carefully neutral, do better in environments that reflect their background. Communities where they'll feel understood. Cashin's jaw tightens. He hears what she's not saying, sees the judgment behind her polite smile. The way her eyes flicked over his skin color when he first walked in. The way she emphasized these girls like they're somehow different from other children who need homes. He's seen this before, felt this before. Years ago, in a boardroom full of men who smiled while they sharpened their knives. Men who told him certain choices had consequences. Men who made him choose between love and acceptance. He chose wrong then. The thought makes his stomach turn. He was 26 and stupid and terrified of losing his place at the table. So when they told him Mireille didn't fit the company image, when they made it clear his relationship was a liability, he believed them. He let her go. And now the system is trying to do the same thing to his daughters. I'm not walking away, Cashin says quietly. Miss Pritchard straightens her papers. We'll see what the court decides. The judge will take into account the girls' best interests, their need for cultural continuity, their comfort level. They're comfortable with me. Are they? Or are they simply grateful for the material comforts you can provide? The question hangs in the air like an accusation. Cashin wants to flip the desk, wants to shout that he's been there every morning for 6 weeks, making breakfast, braiding hair, checking homework. That Nara calls him daddy now. That Sable finally cried in his arms last Tuesday when she remembered her mother's last birthday. But he knows this game, knows that anger will be used against him. Wealthy man losing his temper. Proof he's unstable. So he breathes, counts to 5, meets Miss Pritchard's eyes with the same cold control that built his company. Schedule the hearing, he says. I'll be ready. The memory fractures, rewinds, returns to that first night at the bus stop, to Sable and Nara curled together like two halves of a broken whole, to the photograph in his hands and the impossible recognition burning through his chest. But to understand how they reached that courtroom, how the system tried to tear them apart, you need to know how it began. You need to know what Cashin saw in those twins' faces. And why, after 7 years of silence, the past came back wearing red sweaters and blonde hair. Why the woman he loved disappeared without telling him about the life growing inside her. Why she chose to struggle alone rather than ask him for help. And why Cashin Rourke, the man who built an empire on careful decisions and calculated risks, was about to lose everything that actually mattered. Cashin Rourke built an empire out of logistics and silence. At 43, he owns a supply chain company worth $200 million. His office sits on the 32nd floor of a glass tower in downtown Chicago. His cars are German. His suits are Italian. His reputation is spotless. People call him the quiet millionaire. The man who never loses his temper. The executive who built everything from nothing. But wealth is just noise when your heart stopped beating years ago. He eats dinner alone most nights. Microwaved meals in a penthouse apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a city full of strangers. He attends charity galas because his board says it looks good. He shakes hands and writes checks and smiles at people who only see his bank account. The apartment has 3 bedrooms he never uses. A kitchen designed by architects who've never cooked. Art on the walls chosen by decorators who bill by the hour. Everything is perfect. Everything is empty. His assistant schedules his life in 15-minute increments. Meetings, conference calls, business lunches where everyone orders the same grilled salmon and pretends they're friends. None of them know about Mireille. She was the woman before the money, before the corner office, before he learned that success tastes like ash when you're choking on regret. Mireille Baptiste, Haitian-American, warm brown skin, eyes that saw through every lie he ever told himself. She worked as a community organizer in the South Side, fighting for housing rights and living wages while Cashin was climbing the corporate ladder. They met at a coffee shop on a Tuesday morning. She ordered black coffee. He ordered something complicated with foam. She laughed at him, and he fell in love on the spot. For 2 years, she was his entire world. She introduced him to her family. Her mother, who spoke Creole and cooked meals that filled his soul in ways he didn't know he was empty. Her twin sisters, Sable and Nara, who were teenagers then, full of life and laughter. Different Sable and Nara, not his daughters. The names passed down through generations. Mireille talked about having children someday, about raising them with roots in both cultures, about teaching them to fight for justice the way her mother taught her. Cashin wanted that future. He did, until the firm's senior partners found out. They didn't fire him. They didn't have to. They just started making comments. Casual observations about culture fit and optics and the kind of image we project to clients. One partner pulled him aside after a meeting. Richard Colburn, silver hair, Ian Golip, the kind of man who inherited his position and called it merit. You're talented, Cashin. Real future here. But you need to think about how your personal choices affect your professional trajectory. Clients notice these things. They want to work with people who understand their world. Translation: choose her, lose your career. Cashin told himself he was being smart, strategic, building a foundation for their future. He'd make partner first, secure his position, then it wouldn't matter who he loved. But the truth was uglier and simpler. He was afraid of being the outsider, afraid of losing status, afraid of the whispers and the judgment and the slow suffocation of being pushed out. So he ended it. He rehearsed the speech for 3 days, told himself he was doing the mature thing, the responsible thing. They could revisit the relationship later when he was more established. Mireille didn't cry, didn't beg, just looked at him with those eyes that saw everything and said, "If they can take your love, you never had it." She walked away. He never saw her again. He made partner 18 months later, bought his first luxury car, started building his own company, and every success felt like another brick in the wall between who he was and who he wanted to be. 7 years passed. He built his company, made his fortune, attended his galas, dated women his board approved of, relationships that felt like business transactions. And every night, alone in his penthouse, he thought about the woman who taught him what warmth felt like. Until one December night, driving home through falling snow, he saw 2 little girls sleeping on a bus stop bench. One decision, one cowardly moment, and it broke everything. Not just his relationship with Mireille, but the chance to be a father to the children she carried. The chance to choose love when it mattered most. The first night, Cashin almost keeps driving. It's late December, snow falling heavy and wet. His headlights cut through the darkness, illuminating a bus stop on the corner of Madison and Ashland. And there they are, 2 children curled together on the bench, matching red sweaters, blonde hair tangled across their faces. His foot eases off the gas. The car slows, but then a voice in his head says their parents are probably nearby. Don't be paranoid. The voice sounds like Richard Colburn, like every executive who taught him to mind his own business, to stay in his lane, to ignore problems that aren't his responsibility. He drives home, but he can't sleep. He lies in his king-size bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about those 2 small bodies pressed together against the cold. The second night, he sees them again. Same bench, same position, same red sweaters, now dusted with fresh snow. This time he pulls over, sits in his idling car 50 feet away, watches, waits for an adult to appear. No one comes. 20 minutes pass. The twins don't move. Their breath rises in tiny puffs of white. A few pedestrians walk past. Nobody stops. Nobody even slows down. How does a city full of people walk past sleeping children and do nothing? Cashin's hands tighten on the steering wheel. Every instinct screams that something is wrong. But what can he do? Call the police? What if their parents show up and he looks like some creep watching children in the dark? What if he makes things worse? So he drives home again. pours himself 3 fingers of bourbon, stands at his floor-to-ceiling windows, and watches snow fall over Chicago's skyline. But he doesn't sleep. The third night, he goes straight to the bus stop. The twins are there. Of course they are, asleep against each other, shivering despite their layers. Snow is piled on the bench around them, turning them into a winter painting no one bothered to frame. Cashin parks, gets out. His breath clouds in the freezing air as he approaches slowly, carefully, the way you'd approach wounded animals. 10 feet away, 5 feet, 3. He clears his throat. Both girls jolt awake. The older one immediately puts herself between Cashin and her sister. Her eyes are sharp despite the exhaustion etched into her young face. "Hey," Cashin says softly. He raises his hands, palms out. "I'm not going to hurt you. Are you two okay?" The smaller twin shakes her head, but the older one squares her shoulders. "We're fine. You're sleeping outside in the snow." "That's not fine. We're waiting." Cashin kneels, so he's not towering over them. His knees hit the icy sidewalk. The cold seeps through his expensive trousers. Waiting for who? The twins exchange a glance. Some silent conversation passes between them, the kind only siblings share. Then the older one speaks. "Our mom. She takes the late bus from work. We come meet her so she doesn't walk alone." Something cracks inside Cashin's chest. Every night, they nod in unison. "Where does she work?" "Downtown. At a hospital. She cleans the rooms." "Downtown to here. That's an hour bus ride." Which means their mother is working until 10 or 11 at night. Coming home exhausted. Finding her children waiting in the freezing cold because they're too young to understand they shouldn't have to do this. "What are your names?" "I'm Sable," says the older twin. "Nara," whispers her sister. "Sable. Nara." The names echo in Cashin's skull like bells. He knows those names. He's heard them before. Mireille used to talk about her younger twin sisters. The girls her mother raised back in Haiti before bringing them to Chicago. The girls Mireille helped raise when their mother worked 3 jobs. But that can't be right. Those girls would be in their 20s now. Unless Mireille named her own daughters after her sisters. The way families pass down names like heirlooms. "How old are you?" Cashin asks. 6, Sable says. "Almost 7. 7 years. The same amount of time since Mireille walked out of his life. Since he chose a partnership over a future with her. The math clicks into place with the precision of a closing vault. Cashin stares at their faces. Really looks. The curve of their cheekbones. The shape of their eyes. The way they hold themselves with dignity despite the cold and hunger and exhaustion. They look exactly like someone he used to love. They have her strength, her grace under pressure, her refusal to complain even when life is unbearable. And if he's being honest, really honest, they have his eyes. The same gray-blue that stares back at him from mirrors. "Does your mom?" He stops. Starts again. "What's your mom's name?" Sable's eyes narrow. "Why? I might know her. Everybody says that. Smart girl. Protective. Already learning not to give information to strangers. But Cashin needs to know. Needs to be sure before his heart breaks completely. Does she ever talk about anyone named Cashin?" Both twins go very still. Then Nara, in the smallest voice, says, "That's our dad's name. But we've never met him." The world stops spinning. "Are you hungry?" The question hangs in the frozen air. Sable's expression doesn't change, but Nara's eyes flick toward a diner across the street. Its neon sign buzzing red and blue. "We ate already," Sable lies. Cashin stands. "Come on, humor me." He walks toward the diner without looking back. Hears their whispered debate behind him. Hears Sable's protective tone. Hears Nara's softer voice asking if it's okay. Hears their footsteps crunch through snow as they follow at a careful distance. Inside, the warmth hits like a wave. Cachiones Glessis folk. He pulls them off, wiping them clean, and slides into a corner booth. The twins hover near the door until he gestures to the seats across from him. They sit close together, always touching, always ready to run. The diner is mostly empty. A couple of truckers at the counter. A waitress with tired eyes and a name tag that says Keisha. She approaches, snapping gum. "What'll it be?" "Pancakes," Cashin says. 2 stacks. Extra syrup. Scrambled eggs. Toast. Bacon. Hot cocoa with whipped cream. Sable opens her mouth to protest, but Cashin cuts her off. I'm hungry. I don't like eating alone. Keisha scribbles the order and walks away. Sable watches her go, then turns to Cashin with those two old eyes. Why are you doing this? Because you're hungry. You don't know us. That doesn't mean I can't help. Nara tugs on her sister's sleeve, whispers something. Sable nods slowly, reluctantly, and they settle into their seats. The food arrives fast. Steam rises from the pancakes. Butter melts into golden pools. The bacon is crispy, the eggs fluffy, the cocoa topped with a mountain of whipped cream. The twins stare at it like they're afraid it might disappear. Go ahead, Cashin says. Nara looks at her sister. Sable nods. They pick up their forks with careful precision, elbows tucked, napkins in their laps. Someone taught them manners. Someone raised them right. Then they start eating. Not fast. Not like children usually eat. They eat like people who've learned to make food last. Small bites. Deliberate chewing. Every morsel savored because they don't know when the next meal is coming. Cashin watches them and feels something shifting inside his chest. Something he thought died 7 years ago. He orders a coffee he doesn't want, just to have something to do with his hands. Just to give himself a reason to sit here and watch these children eat like it's the best meal they've had in months. Because it probably is. Do you go to school? He asks. Sable nods, mouth full. Swallows. Wilson Elementary. How do you get there? We walk. Both of you? Together. I'll walk Nara to her classroom. Then I go to mine. 6 years old. Walking her sister to school. Making sure she's safe. Taking responsibility no child should have to carry. And your mom? What does she do? She works at a hospital. Cleaning. Sable's voice is matter of fact. No scum. Just truth. She works hard. She's always tired. What time does she get home? Late. After we're supposed to be asleep. Which explains why they're at the bus stop at midnight. Why they've been doing this for months. They're trying to lighten their mother's load. Trying to be helpful. Trying to make sure she's not alone. Children shouldn't have to do that. But children of struggling, single mothers learn to do impossible things. What about your dad? Cashin asks, even though he knows the answer. Even though his heart is already breaking. What does he do? Both girls go still. Nara's fork hovers in midair. Syrup drips on her plate. We don't have one, Sable says finally. Mom says he didn't know about us. The words land like punches. Each one precise. Each one devastating. Didn't know. Not didn't care. Not abandon them. Didn't know. Which means Mireille never told him. Never reached out. Never gave him the chance to choose differently. Or maybe she did reach out and he never saw it. Maybe she sent letters to his old address. Maybe she called his old number. Maybe she tried and he was already gone, already climbing his ladder, already becoming someone she couldn't reach. Cashin reaches into his coat pocket. His fingers find a photograph he's carried for 7 years. The one he looks at on nights when the loneliness gets too loud. He pulls it out, sets it on the table between them. The twins lean forward, syrup forgotten, cocoa cooling, and stare at the image of a woman laughing in sunlight. Behind her, 2 young girls with blonde hair and bright smiles. Who's that? Nara whispers. Cashin's throat tightens. Someone I used to know. Sable picks up the photograph with sticky fingers. Studies it. Then looks up at Cashin with eyes too old for her face. She looks like our mom. But younger. Happier. Because it is their mom. 20 years younger. Before life and hardship and a man's cowardice carved the joy out of her. Before she had to raise twins alone. Before she worked herself to exhaustion. Before she learned that love doesn't always stay. Cashin takes the photograph back. Holds it next to Sable's face. Next to Nara's face. The resemblance isn't just striking. It's impossible to deny. Same bone structure. Same expressions. Same delicate features. Same everything. And there, in the gray blue of their eyes, he sees himself. His hand starts shaking. The photograph trembles between his fingers. Where do you live? His voice comes out hoarse. Sable's eyes narrow with the suspicion of a child who's learned not to trust strangers. What? I just want to make sure you get home safe. We get home safe every night. Please. Something in his voice must reach her. Some desperation. Some truth. Above a laundromat on Clark Street, she says quietly. Apartment 3B. Cashin knows that area. Knows the rent is cheap because the neighborhood is rough. Knows the laundromat because it's where people go when they can't afford their own machines. They finish eating in silence. When they're done, Cashin pays the bill and leaves Keisha a $50 tip. She stares at it like he made a mistake. Outside, the snow has stopped. The twins point vaguely south. He offers to drive them. They refuse. Too smart. Too careful. He watches them disappear into the darkness. Two small figures in red sweaters, holding each other's hands, navigating a frozen city alone. Then he gets in his car, pulls out the photograph, stares at Mireille's face in the dim glow of the dashboard. And he knows. He knows exactly who those girls are. He knows what it means. And he knows that somewhere in this frozen city, the woman he loved, the woman he abandoned, is out there, struggling, breaking, sacrificing everything. But finding her means facing what he did, what he chose, what he destroyed. His phone glows in the cup holder. He could hire a private investigator, track them down in hours, knock on their door tomorrow. Or he could do what he did 7 years ago. He could drive away, pretend he never saw them, let them stay invisible, let someone else carry the weight. His hand reaches for the keys, then stops, because Nara's voice echoes in his head. That's our dad's name, but we've never met him. And Cashin Rourke, the man who chose his career over love, the man who built an empire on careful decisions and calculated risks, makes a different choice. He starts the car and drives toward Clark Street. The apartment building leans like it's tired of standing. Cashin parks across the street, engine idling, watching steam rise from the laundromat's vents. The sign flickers. Half the letters are dark. He should wait until morning. Call first. Do this the right way. Instead, he gets out of the car. The door to the building doesn't lock. The hallway smells like mildew and fried food. Stairs creak under his weight. Second floor. Third floor. Apartment 3B sits at the end of a corridor lit by a single bulb. He raises his hand to knock. Stops. Behind the door, someone is coughing. Deep, wet coughs that shake the walls. The kind that come from lungs that are giving up. Cashin's blood turns to ice. He knocks anyway. 3 times. Gentle. The coughing stops. Footsteps approach. Slow. Shuffling. The door opens 6 inches. A chain lock catches. And there she is. Mireille. 7 years older. 50 pounds lighter. Her skin has lost its glow. Her eyes sit deep in their sockets. But it's her. The woman he loved. The woman he destroyed. She stares at him through the gap. No surprise. No anger. Just exhaustion. You came late, she whispers. Her voice is paper thin. Barely there. Cashin's throat closes. I didn't know. Mireille, I swear I didn't know. She unhooks the chain. Opens the door wider. Behind her, the apartment is smaller than his closet. 1 room. A kitchenette with a hot plate. A bathroom he can see from the doorway. And on a mattress on the floor, covered with every blanket they own, 2 shapes sleeping. Sable and Nara. Home from the bus stop. Safe for now. Come in, Mireille says. But be quiet. They need sleep. Cashin steps inside. The door clicks shut behind him. The heater rattles, but barely works. He can see his breath. Paint peels from the walls in long strips. A single lamp casts shadows that make the room feel even smaller. There's a plastic table with 2 chairs. A portable closet sagging with clothes. Dishes stacked in a tiny sink. This is where his daughters have been living. This is what Mireille has been surviving in. Mireille sits on the edge of the mattress. Moves carefully, like everything hurts. She pulls a thin sweater tighter around her shoulders. Her hands shake. Not from cold. From weakness. How did you find us? I saw them. At the bus stop. 3 nights ago. They weren't supposed to do that. She closes her eyes. I told them to stay home. But they worry. They think I need protecting. You're sick. I know. How long? A year. Maybe more. She coughs again. Covers her mouth with a tissue. When she pulls it away, there are spots of red. Pneumonia that won't leave. Maybe something worse. I stopped going to doctors when I couldn't afford the tests. Cashin feels like he's falling. His chest tightens. His vision blurs. Why didn't you tell me? About them? about any of this. Mireille looks at him with those tired, knowing eyes. Eyes that once danced when she laughed. Eyes that used to light up when he walked into a room. Now, they just look drained, empty of everything except the truth. You made your choice, Cashin. I wasn't going to beg. I would have helped. Would you? Or would you have sent money and pretended that was enough? The truth of it lands like a slap. She's right. 7 years ago, he would have written a check, set up a trust fund, done everything except actually show up. Everything except be present. Everything except be a father. They're mine, he says. Not a question. Yes. Why didn't you tell me? Because you chose your future over us. I wasn't going to force you to choose again. She leans back against the wall. I wanted them to know their father wanted them, not that he was obligated to them. Cashin kneels beside the mattress, looks at Sable and Nara sleeping. Their faces peaceful, their hands still clasped together. They look so small, so fragile, so much like him and so much like Mireille all at once. Nara has his chin. Sable has Mireille's cheekbones. Both have skin the color of coffee with cream. Both have curls that refuse to be tamed. They're beautiful, perfect. His. What do you need? Hospital? Specialists? I can pay for anything. It's too late for that. Don't say that. Cashin. She reaches out. Her fingers are cold when they touch his wrist. Bone thin. Fragile. I'm not asking you to save me. I'm asking you to love them. I will. Ido. Love them loudly. Not quietly. Not the way you loved me. Hidden and ashamed. Love them in front of everyone. Fight for them. Choose them when it costs you something. Her eyes are closing. The effort of this conversation is draining her. Each word seems to take something from her. Each breath sounds harder than the last. Promise me, she whispers. I promise. Say it again. Say you'll choose them. I'll choose them. Every time. I swear. She smiles. Small. Sad. The smile of someone who knows they're leaving. Good. Her hand slips from his wrist. Her breathing slows, and Cashin sits there in a freezing apartment above a laundromat, watching the woman he loved slip away while their daughters sleep 3 feet away. He wants to scream, wants to rage, wants to turn back time and undo every coward decision he made 7 years ago. He wants to call 911, wants to scoop her up and rush her to a hospital, wants to fix this with money and power and all the resources he's built. But some things can't be fixed. Some things can only be witnessed. So he stays, holds her hand, and when her breathing finally stops, just as the sun starts to rise, he doesn't move. He just sits there and breaks. The funeral is small. 20 people in a community center chapel. Folding chairs. Donated flowers. A minister who knew Mireille from her organizing work. Sable and Nara sit in the front row. Purple dresses Cashin bought them. Hair braided by a neighbor named Ms. Toussaint who knew their mother. They don't cry, just hold hands and stare at the closed casket. Cashin sits beside them. His suit is black. His tie is straight. His hands shake. People speak, tell stories about Mireille's kindness, her strength, how she helped families fight evictions, how she organized food drives, how she never stopped fighting even when she was dying. A woman named Rochelle talks about the time Mireille helped her keep her apartment when the landlord tried an illegal eviction. A man named Marcus describes how Mireille tutored his son for free every Tuesday. An elderly woman named Mrs. Baptiste cries while explaining how Mireille brought her groceries every week for 2 years. Nobody mention question. He's a stranger in expensive clothes. The man who showed up at the end. The one who wasn't there when Mireille needed him. When the girls needed him. When any of them needed him. After the service, Ms. Toussaint approaches. She's 60-something, with gray locks and eyes that miss nothing. She wears a purple dress to match the girls. A gold cross hangs around her neck. You're the father. Yes. Where were you? I didn't know they existed. That why you're here now? Guilt. Cashin looks at Sable and Nara. They're standing by the casket, saying private goodbyes. Sable's hand rests on the wood. Nara's lips move in silent prayer. I'm here because they're my daughters, and I'm not leaving them. Ms. Toussaint studies him. Her eyes narrow. She's seen men make promises before, seen them break those promises just as fast. Mireille was like family to me. Those girls are like my grandbabies. If you hurt them, we'll have problems. I won't. Men always say that. She walks away, leaves Cashin standing alone while the chapel empties. The next week moves in fragments. Temporary custody granted while the state investigates. Home visits, background checks, questions about his financial stability, his living situation, his support system. A woman from child services comes to his penthouse, takes notes, asks about his work schedule, his childcare plans, whether he's ever been arrested, whether he uses drugs, whether he has family nearby who can help. Cashin answers everything, shows her the spare bedroom, explains his flexible work arrangements, provides character references, does everything right on paper. But paper doesn't mean anything to children who just lost their mother. Cashin moves them into his penthouse, converts one of the empty bedrooms into their space. 2 beds, purple sheets, stuffed animals, books, everything they could need. He buys clothes in their sizes, enrolls them in a private school nearby, hires a housekeeper who can cook proper meals, sets up accounts for their future, does everything money can do. But they barely speak to him. Sable watches him like he might disappear, like he's a ghost who could vanish any moment. Her eyes follow him around rooms. She flinches when he reaches for her. She doesn't answer when he asks questions. Nara cries at night when she thinks no one can hear. Quiet, muffled sobs into her pillow. When Cashin tries to comfort her, she turns away, curls into herself, makes herself small. Cashin doesn't know how to fix it, doesn't know how to be a father. He reads parenting books at midnight, Googles how to talk to grieving children, makes breakfast they don't eat, suggests activities they ignore. Nothing works. They're here, but they're not with him. Not really. They're somewhere else, somewhere he can't reach. Then MS. Pritchard shows up. She arrives with a briefcase and a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Sits in his living room, accepts water she doesn't drink. Her suit is pressed, her makeup perfect, her clipboard full of notes that will decide his daughter's future. Mr. Rourke, I've reviewed your file. And you have resources. That's clear. But resources aren't the same as readiness. I'm ready. These girls have been through trauma. They need consistency, familiarity, community support. They have that with me. Ms. Pritchard opens her briefcase, pulls out a folder. I've identified several potential foster placements. Families in their previous neighborhood, families who share their cultural background, families who understand the unique challenges these children face. Cashin's jaw tightens. I'm their father, a father they didn't know existed until 3 weeks ago. That's not their fault, or mine, isn't it? She closes the folder. Children like this do better in environments where they feel understood, where they see themselves reflected in their community. There's again, children like this. Code words, polite prejudice. The same game Cashin learned to play years ago when he chose status over love, when he decided fitting in mattered more than being real. What you mean, he says quietly, is that you don't think I'm the right kind of family for them. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Ms. Pritchard stands, smooths her skirt, picks up her briefcase. The court will make the final decision. I'm simply providing my recommendation. And my recommendation is that these girls would benefit from placement with a family more suited to their needs. She leaves. Cashin sits in his living room, in his expensive penthouse, surrounded by wealth that means nothing. Floor-to-ceiling windows show the Chicago skyline. Marble counters gleam. Leather furniture sits untouched. Everything is perfect. Everything is empty. And he realizes he's facing the same choice he faced 7 years ago. Bow to the system. Accept their judgment. Let them take his daughters because fighting back might cost him something. Or stand up. Fight. Choose his children over comfort. That night, he tucks Sable and Nara into bed. Reads them a story about a princess who saves herself. Kisses their foreheads. They don't pull away this time. Small progress. Tiny steps forward. Daddy. Nara's voice is small in the darkness. Yes, baby. Are they going to take us away? His heart breaks. Shatters into pieces he'll spend years putting back together. No. Promise? He thinks about Mireille. Her last words. Love them loudly. I promise, he says. Nobody's taking you anywhere. Not as long as I'm breathing. Sable sits up. Her eyes catch the city lights from the window. Miss Pritchard said we might be happier somewhere else. She's wrong. How do you know? Because I'm your father, and fathers protect their children, no matter what. Sable stares at him, testing, searching for truth, looking for the lie she expects to find. Then she nods, lies back down. Okay, it's the first time she's believed him, and Cashin knows the fight is just beginning. The courtroom is beige and fluorescent. Judge Martinez sits behind a high bench, reading files. Ms. Pritchard sits at one table with her laptop and printed recommendations. Cashin sits at another with a lawyer named Devin Chun, who cost $5,000 just to show up. Sable and Nara wait in a separate room with a social worker. They wanted to be here. Cashin said no. Some things children shouldn't have to witness. Some fights are for adults to handle alone. The hearing begins. Ms. Pritchard presents first, speaks in measured tones about trauma and attachment and cultural continuity, mentions 3 foster families who have been approved, families with strong ties to the community, families who understand the unique needs of Black children, families who've raised children before, families who know what they're doing. She projects photos. The Johnson family, 2 parents, 3 kids, a dog, a backyard. They live 4 blocks from the old apartment. They attend the same church Mireille attended. They look perfect on paper. The Williams family, grandmother, aunt, 2 cousins. Multi-generational home, traditional values, strong community connections. They knew Mireille personally, helped at her memorial service. The Thomas family, young couple. No other children yet. Both teachers, both activists, both committed to raising Black children with pride and purpose. She never says Cashin is unfit. She just implies it with every carefully chosen word, every slight pause, every knowing look at the judge. Devin stands, adjusts his glasses, opens his own folder. Your Honor, my client is the biological father. He has stable income, adequate housing, and genuine commitment to these children. He's also been absent their entire lives. Ms. Pritchard counters. The girls don't know him. They're grieving their mother. Adding instability to their situation would be harmful. Judge Martinez looks at Cashin, studies him over her reading glasses. She's seen cases like this before. Fathers who appear at the last minute. Fathers who want to play hero without doing the work. Mr. Rourke, why should I grant you custody? Cashin stands. His lawyer touches his arm, warning him to be careful. Stick to the script. Don't get emotional. Don't make this personal. But it is personal. Because I love them, Cashin says. Because their mother asked me to. Because I failed once, and I'm not failing again. That's not a legal argument. No, but it's the truth. He takes a breath. 7 years ago, I let fear control me. I let other people's opinions matter more than love. I walked away from the woman I loved because I was afraid of what choosing her would cost me. Ms. Pritchard shifts in her seat. But I learned something. Cashin continues. Fear is expensive. It cost me 7 years with my daughters. It cost them their father. It cost Mireille the support she deserved. And I'm not paying that price anymore. Judge Martinez leans forward. Her expression softened slightly. Ms. Pritchard raised valid concerns about cultural continuity. Respectfully, Your Honor, my daughters are Black and white. They're Haitian American and Irish American. They're a bridge between worlds. And I'm not going to pretend they're better off without me because someone thinks I'm the wrong color to raise them. The courtroom goes silent. The court reporter stops typing. The bailiff looks up. Ms. Pritchard opens her mouth, closes it. Devin Chun hides a smile. Judge Martinez taps her pen against her desk. The sound echoes. Once, twice, 3 times. Strong words, Mr. Rourke. But words are easy. What have you actually done? I've shown up every morning for 3 weeks. I make breakfast. I braid hair. I check homework. I read bedtime stories. I hold Nara when she cries. I answer Sable's questions about her mother. I'm there for 3 weeks. And I'll be there for the next 3 decades. And the 3 decades after that, if I'm lucky enough to see my grandchildren. Judge Martinez looks at Ms. Pritchard. Do you have evidence of neglect or unfitness? No, Your Honor. But Has Mr. Rourke missed any scheduled visits or appointments? No, but has he provided adequate care during his temporary custody? Ms. Pritchard hesitates, flips through her notes, searches for something damning, finds nothing. By material standards, yes. But emotional readiness is something we all learn as we go. Judge Martinez closes the file, sets down her pen, removes her glasses. I've read the reports. I've seen the home study. Mr. Rourke has resources, yes. But more importantly, he's been present, consistent, committed. She looks at Cashin, really looks at him, past the expensive suit, past the nervous energy, past everything to the truth underneath. I'm granting you full custody, contingent on continued social worker visits for the next 6 months. If there are any concerns, we revisit. Understood. Cashin's knees buckle. He grabs the table to steady himself. The room spins. His vision blurs. Thank you, he whispers. Thank you. Ms. Pritchard packs her briefcase, stands, walks past Cashin without looking at him. Her heels click against the tile floor. Sharp, angry, disappointed. But at the door, she stops, turns, looks back at him one last time. Don't prove me right, she says quietly. Then she's gone. Devin claps Cashin on the shoulder, grins, pumps his fist. Congratulations. You're officially a single father. Welcome to the hardest job you'll ever love. Cashin doesn't feel victorious. He feels terrified because winning custody is just the beginning. Now he has to be the father they deserve. Now he has to prove Ms. Pritchard wrong every single day for the rest of his life. 6 months later, Cashin stands in the doorway of his daughter's bedroom. The room looks different now. Drawings cover the walls. Finger paintings of purple flowers. Crayon portraits of the 3 of them holding hands. A watercolor of a woman who looks like Mireille, wings spreading from her back, watching over 2 small girls. A bookshelf overflows with stories. Chapter books they're growing into. Picture books they're not quite ready to leave behind. A star projector casts constellations across the ceiling. Glow-in-the-dark stars spell out their names. Sable sits at a small desk, doing homework, tongue between her teeth, concentrating hard on long division. Nara plays with blocks, building something elaborate. A castle maybe, or a spaceship. It's hard to tell. Normal, domestic, real. Cashin clears his throat. Who wants pancakes? Me. Nara jumps up, sends blocks scattering. Doesn't care. Sable looks up from her math worksheet. Pencil paused mid-equation. Can we have chocolate chips in them? Only if you finish your homework first. She groans but smiles. Actually smiles. That's new. Took 4 months, but she smiles now. Not all the time. Not easily, but more than before. In the kitchen, Cashin mixes batter while Nara chatters about school. Her teacher, Ms. Rodriguez. Her friend, Amara. The class hamster, Mr. Whiskers, who escaped last Tuesday and was found in the art supply closet eating construction paper. She talks with her hands. Animated. Excited. The sadness still lives in her, but joy lives there too now. They coexist, the way grief and happiness always do. Sable joins them eventually. Homework done. She climbs onto a bar stool and watches Cashin cook. Studies his technique. Judges his form. You're getting better at this, she observes. Better than the first week? That's not saying much. You burn toast. Cashin laughs. A real laugh. The kind that comes from deep in his chest. He burns a lot less now. Learned to cook actual meals. Nothing fancy, but edible. Progress measured in small victories. Scrambled eggs that aren't rubbery. Pasta that isn't mushy. Toast that's actually toasted. They eat together at the island. Real conversation. Back and forth. The rhythm of family. Nara tells a joke she learned from Amara. Why did the chicken go to the library? To check out a book. She laughs, so hard she nearly falls off her stool. Sable complains about a boy named Marcus who pulled her hair at recess. Cashin asks if she wants him to talk to the teacher. She says no. Says she handled it herself. Told Marcus if he touched her again, she'd tell his mother and Ms. Rodriguez and the principal and anyone else who would listen. Cashin is proud. Doesn't say it. Just nods. Files it away. His daughter knows how to stand up for herself. After breakfast, school runs. Cashin drives them in his SUV, The one he bought specifically for car seats and safety ratings. Consumer Reports, top pick. 5-star crash test results. Every safety feature available. He walks them to their classrooms. Bends down for hugs. Nara squeezes tight. Sable's hug is briefer but real. Progress. Always progress. Other parents nod at him now. Recognize him. No longer the stranger in the expensive suit. Just another dad doing drop-off. Just Sable and Nara's father. Just Cashin. Some even chat. Ask how he's doing. Invite him to parent coffee mornings. He went once. Felt awkward. Went again. Felt less awkward. Might go a third time. Work has changed too. He cut his hours. Promoted his VP to handle day-to-day operations. Still involved, but no longer consumed. Still making decisions, but not drowning in them. Because being consumed by work means missing moments. Missing Nara's school play, where she played a tree and took it very seriously. Missing Sable's parent-teacher conference, where Ms. Rodriguez said she was excelling in reading. Missing the everyday, ordinary magic of raising children. At night, the routine is sacred. Dinner, homework help, bath time, then the bedroom with starlit ceiling. The rhythm they've built together. The structure that makes them feel safe. Cashin sits on the edge of Nara's bed. Sable is already under her covers. Watching. Listening. Always watching. Always testing to see if this is real. He reads from a book about a girl who discovers she's braver than she knew. A girl who faces monsters and doesn't back down. When he finishes, he closes it gently. Marks their place with a bookmark Sable made him. Purple construction paper with his name in glitter. Tomorrow we're visiting MS. Toussaint, he says. She invited us for Sunday dinner. Will she make her rice and beans? Nara asks hopefully. Probably. Good. I like her cooking better than yours. Everyone likes her cooking better than mine. Sable laughs. A sound that's becoming more common. Music to his ears. Then goes quiet. Her smile fades. Daddy. Yes. Do you ever miss your old life? Before us. The question hits him hard. Lands in his chest like a weight. He could lie. Make it easy. Tell her what she wants to hear. But Mireille taught him better. Love him loudly. Honestly. Even when honesty is uncomfortable. No, he says. That life was empty. This one matters. Even though we're hard. Especially because you're hard. Nothing worth having comes easy. And you two are the most worth it thing I've ever done. Nara yawns. Burrows into her pillows. Pulls her stuffed bunny close. I'm glad you found us. Me too, baby. He kisses her forehead. Smells her shampoo. Strawberry. Breathes in this moment. This ordinary, perfect moment. He moves to Sable's bed. She's older, more aware. Still testing if he'll stay. Still waiting for him to disappoint her. Still preparing for him to leave. Daddy. Her voice is small. Yeah. Are you staying? The question she asks every night. The same one. The same fear underneath. The same need for reassurance that never quite goes away. Cashin kneels. Looks in her eyes. Gray-blue like his. Determined like her mother. Skeptical like someone who's learned not to trust easily. I'm not going anywhere, he says. Not tonight. Not tomorrow. Not ever. I promise. What if something happens? Like what? What if your job needs you? What if you get tired of us? What if we're too much? Sable. He takes her hand. Small in his. Warm. Real. You and Nara are my job now. The most important one I'll ever have. And I don't get tired of people I love. She studies him. Searching for cracks. For lies. For the moment when the mask slips and she sees the truth underneath. Finds none. Okay, she whispers. He kisses her forehead. Tucks the blankets around her. Makes sure the edges are secure. The way she likes it. Turns on the star projector. Watches the constellations spin across the ceiling. Good night, girls. Good night, Daddy. Their voices blend together. Harmony he never knew he needed. He leaves the door cracked. Light from the hallway spilling in. Just enough so they know he's still there. Still awake. Still keeping watch. In the living room, Cashin pours himself tea. Chamomile. No caffeine this late. Sits by the window. Looks out at Chicago's skyline. The city glitters. Beautiful. Cold. Distant. His phone buzzes. A text from Devin Shun. Court just finalized everything. They're officially yours. No more social worker visits. Congratulations. Cashin reads it twice. Then a third time. No more visits. No more checks. No more system looking over his shoulder. No more MS. Pritchard making notes on a clipboard. No more wondering if this is the day they take his daughters away. Just him and his daughters. His family. He thinks about Mireille. Wishes she could see this. Wishes she could know he kept his promise. Wishes she could see Sable smile and hear Nara's laugh and know they're okay. Maybe she does. Maybe somewhere she's watching. Seeing him choose their daughters every single day. Seeing him love them loudly. Seeing him be the man she always believed he could be. He finishes his tea, rinses the cup, puts it in the dishwasher, wipes down the counter, checks the girls one more time before bed. They're both asleep now. Nara snoring softly. Sable curled on her side, one hand tucked under her cheek. Safe. Warm. Home. And Cashin Rourke, the man who once thought wealth meant success, stands in the doorway and understands the truth. This is what rich feels like. Not the penthouse. Not the car. Not the bank account. This. Two girls sleeping peacefully because they know their father loves them. This is everything. 2 years later, the apartment building above the laundromat is gone. Torn down last month. Turned into condos nobody from a neighborhood can afford. Glass and steel where brick and hope used to be. Luxury where survival used to live. But the bus stop is still there. Cashin parks across the street. Same spot as that first night. Engine idling. Heat running. Sable and Nara sit in the back seat, now 8 years old, wearing matching purple jackets. Mireille's favorite color. The color they wear when they want to remember her. Why are we here? Sable asks. She's reading a book. Always reading. Devours stories like they're oxygen. Because this is where everything changed, Cashin says. They get out. Walk to the bench. Snow is falling again, just like that December night. But this time, nobody's sleeping in the cold. This time, the bus stop is empty except for them. Cashin kneels. The twins stand beside him. Purple jackets bright against the gray afternoon. They're taller now. Stronger. Still holding hands sometimes, but not always. Growing into themselves. This is where I found you, he tells them. Where I almost drove past. Where I almost made the same mistake I made with your mother. But you didn't, Nara says. She touches the bench. Runs her fingers along the cold metal. No, I didn't. He looks at them. Studies their faces. Sees Mireille in their cheekbones. Sees himself in their eyes. Sees two whole people who are more than the sum of their parts. You know why? Why? Because you were waiting, and I finally learned that the people worth having are worth waiting for. Worth fighting for. Worth choosing even when it's hard. Sable touches the bench where her mother used to sit, where she and Nara used to huddle together against the cold. Mom used to sit here with us, before she got too sick. I know. She told us once that if anything happened to her, someone good would come. Someone who would choose us. Her voice cracks slightly. She's 8, but sometimes she sounds older. Weighted with things no child should carry. Cashin's throat tightens. Tears threaten, but he blinks them back. She was right. Did you love her? Nara asks suddenly. Direct. No filter. The way 8-year-olds ask questions that cut straight to bone. Yes. Then why did you leave? The question he knew was coming. The question he's been preparing for. Because I was scared. Because I thought other people's opinions mattered more than love. Because I made a terrible mistake. Do you wish you could change it? Every day. Sable looks at him. Really looks at him. But if you changed it, everything would be different. Yes. We might be different. Yes. So maybe it happened the way it was supposed to. She says it matter-of-factly. 8 years old and already understanding things adults struggle with. Maybe Mom needed those years with just us. Maybe we needed them too. Cashin nods. Can't speak. Too choked up. They stand there for a moment. 3 people at a bus stop, remembering the woman who brought them together. The snow falls softly. The city moves around them. Life continues. Then Nara shivers. Can we go home now? It's cold. Yeah, baby. Let's go home. Home is different now. Not the penthouse. Cashin sold it months ago. Too sterile. Too cold. Too much about who he used to be and not enough about who he's becoming. He bought a house in Hyde Park instead. For bedrooms, a yard with a swing set, a porch with rocking chairs, a neighborhood with families and block parties, and the kind of community Mireille would have loved. Close to their school and Ms. Toussaint and the community center where Mireille used to work. Close to the library and the park and the ice cream shop Nara loves. Close to everything that matters. The girls run inside, shedding jackets and boots. Leave them in a pile by the door. Cashin used to correct this. Now he just picks them up, hangs them properly, saves the battle for things that matter more. Ms. Toussaint is already in the kitchen, cooking Sunday dinner. She comes over twice a week now. More if they need her. Part grandmother, part family, part keeper of Mireille's memory. She tells stories about their mother, teaches them recipes, makes sure they know where they come from. "You're late," she calls. Her voice carries from the kitchen. Warm, scolding, loving. Had to make a stop. She emerges, wooden spoon in hand. Sees his face. Sees the redness around his eyes. Understands immediately. "You went to the bus stop." "Yeah, good. Important to remember where you started. Important to never forget what it took to get here." Dinner is loud. The way family dinners should be. The girls tell stories. Talk over each other. Interrupt. Laugh. Ms. Toussaint corrects their grammar. Reminds them to chew with their mouths closed. Tells them to slow down. All the things grandmothers do. Cashin pretends not to notice when they sneak extra dessert. Chocolate cake Ms. Toussaint made from scratch. He catches her eye. She winks. They're in this together. After dishes, after showers, after homework is double-checked and backpacks are packed for tomorrow. After the nightly routine they've perfected over 2 years, Cashin sits in the girls' room. It's bigger now. More space to spread out. More room to grow. But still has the star projector. Still has drawings on the walls. Still has the feeling of safety they've built together, brick by brick, day by day. Nara is already drowsy. Eyes half closed. Fighting sleep like she does every night. "Daddy, can you tell us about Mom? What do you want to know? Was she happy?" Cashin thinks. Chooses his words carefully. Wants to be honest, but also wants to give them something good to hold on to. "She was strong. She loved you more than anything. And yes, I think she was happy. Because she had you. Do you miss her?" "Every day. Even though you have us. Having you doesn't mean I stop missing her. Love doesn't work like that. There's room for both." He touches Nara's cheek. Gentle. "Your mom gave me the greatest gift anyone ever gave me. She gave me you and your sister. Do you think she's proud of us?" Sable asks from her bed. She's been quiet. Listening. Processing the way she does. "I know she is. I know she sees you reading 3 grades above your level. I know she sees you standing up for yourself. I know she sees Nara making friends and being kind and spreading joy everywhere she goes." "How do you know?" Nara's voice is sleepy now. Fading. "Because I'm proud of you. And if I can see how amazing you are, imagine how your mom feels." She's watching. She's cheering. She's so proud she could burst. Nara smiles. Eyes closed now. Drifting. "That's nice." Sable rolls over. Faces him. Her eyes are wet, but she's not crying. "Daddy?" "Yes." Here it comes. The nightly question. The ritual that proves he's still here. The reassurance she still needs, even after 2 years. "Are you staying?" Cashin smiles. Kneels beside her bed. Takes her hand. Squeezes gently. Looks into those gray-blue eyes that mirror his own. Eyes that are starting to trust. Starting to believe. "I'm not going anywhere," he says. The words he said 1,000 times. The promise he'll keep saying until she doesn't need to hear it anymore. Not again. Not ever. "I promise you, Sable. I promise you, Nara. I'm your father. And fathers don't leave. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Especially when I'm tired. Especially when I don't know what I'm doing. I stay. That's what fathers do." She nods. Satisfied for tonight. Closes her eyes. "I love you, Daddy." His breath catches. She doesn't say it often. Neither of them do. But when they do, it means everything. "I love you too, baby girl. More than you'll ever know." He kisses both their foreheads. Breathes them in. Strawberry shampoo and childhood and the scent of home. Turns on the stars. Watches the constellations spin across the ceiling. Orion. The Big Dipper. Cassiopeia. Leaves the door cracked. Light from the hallway spilling in. Just enough so they know he's still there. Still awake. Still keeping watch. Always keeping watch. In the hallway, he pauses. Looks back at his daughter sleeping. Nara already snoring softly. Sable's breathing evening out. Safe. Loved. Chosen. Ms. Toussaint is in the living room, gathering her things. Her purse. Her coat. Her container of leftovers she always insists on taking home, even though Cashin tells her leave them. They're good girls, she says. They are. You're doing right by them. I'm trying. Mireille will be proud. She touches his arm. Squeezes gently. I wasn't sure about you at first. Thought you might be like all the other men who show up with promises and disappear when things get real. I know, but you stayed. You showed up. You did the work. She smiles. A real smile. Warm. Approving. You're their father. Not because biology says so, because you chose to be. Every single day, you choose them. That's all I can do. That's everything. She heads for the door. Stops. Turns back. She loved you, you know. Even after. Even when she was angry. Even when she was dying. She loved you. Cashin's throat closes. I know. Good. Don't forget it. Don't forget what it took to get here. Don't forget what matters. She leaves. Cashin stands in his living room. Their living room. The house that's becoming a home. Photos on the walls now. The girl's artwork on the fridge. Shoes by the door. Toys in the corner. Signs of life. Signs of family. He walks to the window. Looks out at the neighborhood. Porch lights glowing. Families inside having their own dinners, their own routines, their own ordinary magic. Wealth didn't make him rich. They did. Sable and Nara. Ms. Toussaint. This house. This life. This choice he makes every morning when he wakes up and every night when he tucks him in. The choice to stay. To fight. To show up. The choice to love loudly, never silently. And Cashin Rourke, the man who once chose wrong, will spend the rest of his life choosing right. Every single day, every homework session, every school play, every scraped knee, every bad dream, every good grade, every hard conversation, every easy laugh. For them. Always for them. He checks on the girls one more time. Still sleeping. Still safe. Still his. Then he goes to his own room, sits on the edge of his bed, looks at the photo on his nightstand. Mireille, young and laughing, before everything went wrong. Before sickness. Before poverty. Before death. He keeps it there. A reminder of what he lost. What he found. What he'll never take for granted again. I kept my promise, he whispers to the photo. To her memory. To wherever she is. I chose them. I'm choosing them. I'll keep choosing them. The photo doesn't answer. Can't answer. But somewhere, somehow, he thinks she knows. He thinks she sees. And he thinks she's proud. He turns off the light. Lies down. Listens to the sounds of his house. The heater humming. The girls breathing in the next room. The settling of walls and floors and foundation. The sound of home. The sound of everything. And Cashin Rourke, father of two, falls asleep knowing that tomorrow he'll wake up and do it all again. Make breakfast. Braid hair. Pack lunches. Do drop-off. Go to work. Come home. Make dinner. Help with homework. Read stories. Answer questions. Are you staying, Daddy? Yes. Always. Forever. That's the promise. That's the choice. That's love. Not a feeling that comes and goes, but a decision made new every morning. A decision to be present, to be patient, to be enough. And he will be. For them. Always. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to our channel.